Hello everyone, good day. Welcome back to our class. This is Jover Chofilo and our topic for today is computing overtime payment for consumer mathematics. Now, make yourself comfortable because we are now in the computation of overtime pay. So I have here the some examples. Okay, so let's have the example number one. So we are going to compute the overtime pay in terms of an ordinary day. Step 1, compute for hourly rate. Now hourly rate is equal to daily rate divided by the number of working hours. So our daily rate there in the problem is 340 pesos. And our number of working hours is 8 hours. Now we're just going to divide it. Then we have a answer of 42.50 pesos per hour. So this is our hourly rate. Now please take note of this because this hourly rate would be used in step 2. So this is step 2. Determine the overtime rate per hour. Now overtime rate is equal to regular hourly rate times overtime rate. So as I have said, we have 42 pesos point 50 centavos in our regular hourly rate multiplied by 125%. Okay, sir, where did you find that 125% po? So according to our table earlier that I have been discussed, in ordinary day we have overtime rate of for more than 8 hours is 125% or 1.25%. So this is according to the labor code of the Philippines. Okay, this is it. We're going to use this. Now we have 42 pesos point 50 centavos times 1.25. So 125% divided by 100 is equal to 1.25. So to the answer of this is our overtime rate is equal to 53 pesos point 125 centavo. Now please take note also of this overtime rate because we are going to use that in our final answer. Now we have the total pay for the day. So it is equal to 8 hours, which is the number of working days, multiplied by hourly rate of 42.50 plus overtime rate, which is 53 pesos point 125 centavos, and multiplied by 2 hours. Okay, sir, where did you find that 2 hours? As in the problem, Mirna have a exists in 10 hours, and our regular 8 hours, our regular number of work hours is 8 hours, then we just subtract the 10 minus 2, 10 minus 8, and it is equal to 2. And that is the overtime hours of Myrna. Now, to multiply this, 8 times 42.50 is equal to 340 pesos plus 106.25 if you're going to multiply this 53.125 times 2. Okay, to sum it up, the Myrna earns 446.25 pesos in the ordinary day. Okay, example number 2, we're going to compute the overtime pay in terms of on rest day and special day. And step number 1, compute the hourly rate on a rest day or special day. So as you observe, we have 340 pesos, the daily rate, and the number of hours, which is the 8 hours. So, sir, where did you find the 42.50? So, we just divide the 340 divided by 8, and we have 42.50. Now, we are going to multiply it into 130%. Okay, sir, where did you find that 130%? Again, let's see the table. You are computing the overtime in terms of rest days or special non-working holidays, and our hourly rate is 130% or 1.30. 1.30. Now, this is the numerical value that we are going to use to compute the overtime rate. So, let's back. So, 42.50 times 1.30 is equal to 55.50 55 pesos point 25 centavos per hour. And now, this is our hourly rate. Okay? This is our hourly rate in the problem. So let's proceed to the step number 2. Determine the overtime rate per hour. So overtime rate is equal to regular hourly rate times overtime rate. Now, as you observed, our regular hourly rate is 55 pesos point 25 centavo multiplied by 169%. Okay, sir, where did you find that 169%? Uh, if you have a question that we use later the 130 and now we use again the 169%, now let's see the table. So in the table, hourly rate for 8 hours po yun ha. So we use the 130%. But if our hourly overtime rate exists in 8 hours, then we are going to use the 169% or 1.69. 55 pesos point 25 centavos is multiplied by 169% or 1.69 is equal to 93 pesos point 3,725 centavo. This is our overtime rate. Now, please take note also of this because we are going to use this to get our final answer. Okay? So, total pay for the day is equal to 8 hours, which is and our hourly rate, which is 55 pesos point 25 centavo. And our overtime rate is 93 pesos point 3,725 centavo. And our overtime hours is 2. Okay, our overtime hours is 2. Now, if you are going to multiply this, we have 442 pesos plus 186.745 centavo. To sum it up, this is our final answer in problem number 2. 628 pesos point 745 centavos. Okay, in terms of rest day or special day. Now, we are going to compute the overtime pay in terms on rest day which falls on special day. Okay, the step 1, compute the hourly rate on a rest day which falls on a special day. So our hourly rate is equal to regular hourly rate times hourly rate. So we have 42.50. Sir, where did you find that 42.50? We have 340 divided by 8 hours. Okay? We have 340 divided by 8 hours. It is equal to 42.50. And multiplied by 150%. Okay, sir, where did you get that 150%? Now, please see the table. In hourly rate for 8 hours lang po, this is the numerical number that we are going to use to compute the hourly rate. Okay, 150 or 150% or 1.5. So, let's go back. We have here 42.50 multiplied by 1.50 is equal to 63 pesos point 75 centavo in our hourly rate. Again, please take note this. This is our hourly rate, 63 pesos point 75 centavos. So let's have the step number 2. Determine the overtime rate per hour. Okay, our overtime rate is equal to hourly rate times overtime rate. So, this is our hourly rate, 63 pesos point 75 centavos. Now, sir, again, where did you find that 195%? Okay, let's see the table.
As you observe on the table, we have overtime rate that exists more than 8 hours. In rest day which falls on special holiday, we have 195% or 1.95. Now, the 195% or 1.95, we're going to use that to compute our overtime rate.
Okay, we have 63 pesos point 75 centavos multiplied by 1.95 is equal to 124 pesos point 3,125 centavo. So this is our overtime rate. Okay? So 1.95, just divide the 195% to 100. Okay, just divide it. So you're going to have 1.95. Now, please also take note of this overtime rate because we're going to use this into our final answer. So let's have the last total pay for the day is equal to 8 hours, which is the number of working hours. Our hourly rate, which is 63 pesos point 75 centavos. And our overtime rate is 124 pesos point 3,125 centavos times the number of overtime hours, which is 2. Now, to multiply this number, 8 times 63.75, we have 510 pesos. Plus, to multiply this, 124.3,125 times 2, we have 248.625. Then, to sum it up, we have 758 pesos point 625 centavo. So now we are going to compute the overtime pay in terms on a regular holiday. Now, let's have the solution on step number 1. So again, compute the hourly rate on a regular holiday. So our hourly rate is equal to regular hourly rate times hourly rate. Okay? So 42.50 times 200%. Okay, sir, where did you find that 200%? So according to our table, we're going to use the hourly rate for 8 hours. So this is 200% in regular holidays. Okay? In regular holidays. Let's back. So 42.50 times 2 is equal to 85 pesos per hour. So this is our hourly rate. Let's have this step number 2. Determine the overtime rate per hour. So our overtime rate is equal to hourly rate times overtime rate in percent. So we have 85 pesos per hour and multiplied by 260 percent. Now this 260% is given in the table here. So 260% or 2.60 in if you're going to compute the overtime for more than 8 hours. Okay, let's use this numerical value of 260% or 2.60. Now we have here the 85 pesos times 2.660 is equal to 221 pesos, and this is our overtime rate. And now we have the hourly rate of 85 pesos and the overtime rate of 221 pesos. Now let's use that to get our final answer. Now we have total pay for the day. We have 8 hours, which is the number of work hours, with regular number of work hours, times hourly rate of 85 pesos, plus overtime rate of 221 pesos, times number of overtime hours, which is 2. Now, if you're going to multiply 8 times 85, it is 680 pesos. And if you're going to multiply 221 times 2, it is equal to 442 pesos. Now, to sum it up, we have the final answer of 1,050 pesos. So let's have the final problem. This is computing overtime payment in terms of on rest day which falls on a regular holiday. Solution step number 1. Compute the hourly rate on a rest day which falls on a regular holiday. Now, our hourly rate is equal to regular hourly rate times hourly rate percent. Now, we have the 42.50. So, 42.50 is comes from 340 pesos divided by 8. Now, multiply by 260%. Okay, sir, where did you find that 260%? Now, let's see the table according to the labor code of the Philippines. Okay, this is it. 260 um, percent. This is the numerical value that we are going to use because we are going to compute the overtime payment in terms of rest day which falls in regular holiday. So let's back. So we have 42 pesos point 50 centavos times 2.60 and it is equal to 110 pesos point 50 centavo per hour and this is our hourly rate. Okay, so step 1. Now, please take note of our hourly rate. So we are now in step 2. Determine the overtime rate per hour. Overtime rate is equal to hourly rate times overtime rate. So, overtime rate. Now, we have 110 pesos point 50 centavo in hourly rate. Multiply by 338%. Okay, in 338%, sir, where did you find that? Uh, as you observe in our table, we have the overtime rate for more than 8 hours. Now we have 338% or 3.38. Now this is, we are going to use this to compute the overtime payment. Now let's go back to the slide. Now 110 pesos point 50 centavo multiplied by 3.38 is equal to 373.49 pesos. So this is our overtime rate. So we have the hourly rate of 110.50 and we have the overtime rate of 373.49 centavo. Now let's have the final answer. For the total pay for the day, we have 8 hours, which is the number of regular working hours times hourly rate of 110 pesos point 50 centavo plus the overtime rate of 373.49 and multiply by the number of overtime hours, which is 2. Now, if you're going to multiply this, 8 times 110.50, we have 884 pesos. And if you're going to multiply the 373.49, we have times 2, we have 746.98 pesos. To sum it up, our final answer is 1,257 pesos point 49 centavo.